Hi, my name is Paul Cresswell. Welcome to Paul's Tackle Reviews. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to give you some real life reviews of tackle that's been out on the bank, tried and tested by an unsponsored, unbiased angler, and that's me. As I say with all of my videos, just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but I'll give you all the information I can to help you make your own mind up. As I've said before in a previous video of mine, I'm a pole floataholic. I can't stop buying pole floats. Some I've bought, never used and sold on, and although I've slimmed my range down a bit, and I have got a previous video that shows a lot of floats I use, I'm always on the lookout, and today I'm looking at a float I've been using over the last 4 or 5, well probably 6 months now, and that's the Drennan Silverfish 3, SF3. SF stands for silverfish, who would have guessed? SF also for me stands for sensitive float, and this is a really delicate sensitive float, and it's the most sensitive float that I carry for the fishing that I do. I used to use the Chiantis, the Preston Chiantis, as my lightest float, and the Chiantis are a great float. Everybody will have seen one, or most people will have used one, and it's very sensitive because it has a solid cane tip. The problem with the Chianti is it's got a solid cane tip, and especially in winter when the light's changing, the sun's coming, the bit of breeze is getting up, they can be very difficult to see when you're fishing. There's no point fishing if you can't see your float. So I've been on the lookout for something that's sensitive but also that's visible, that I could use for mainly my silverfish fishing. I'm quite an old guy. I started catching silverfish when carps didn't really exist in the waters I fished, and I still love catching silverfish now. So I came across this float because I was fishing on the Gloucester Canal, and I was fishing with hemp, and I needed a float in about 8 feet of water, and so I went to the shop, had a look round, and picked up this float in the 0.6 gram size and set it up with a tapered shotting pattern mainly in the bottom half of the rig, and went out, and it was fantastic. It worked brilliantly. It's a very slim float, and it has a 1mm fibre bristle, so it's a very sensitive float, and therefore it worked perfectly with the hemp. Saw the bites brilliantly. It just really worked for me on that day, and I thought, this is a really good sensitive float. Maybe I could get the smaller sizes and use them on still waters and commercials as well. So I bought it in the 0.4 and the 0.2 gram. Now the 0.4, I use Stotts for most of my rigs. It just gives more flexibility, and I've tended to work with a bulk of 6 number 9 Stotts, and then I've had 3 number 11s below. On the 0.2 gram I went for 8 number 11s, which might sound a little bit odd, but you can always put 2 number 11s together, and that's about the same as a number 9. So I just thought the 8 gave me a lot of flexibility, and if you really wanted, you could push 2 or 3 under the float and have a really slow fall in the rest as well. So that's the basic shotting pattern. You'll then need a little trimming shot underneath the float. You will need to use number 12s with this, because if you want to take down half the bristle, it is kind of a number 12. One of the big things about this float is the tips that you get, and you get 4 tips provided with each float. So you get orange, red, yellow and black. Now I don't really use the orange, it's not a colour I find easy. Most of my floats are red. I have found the yellow very good in this float, and the black is just a godsend for those days where all of a sudden the ripple comes on, it goes white and you need to see your float. So you can change the tips straightforward, take one out, put one back in, secure mechanism, never had one fall out. This, like I say, is very good in winter when the changing light, the backgrounds, the low sun. Sometimes you can be fishing perfectly, all of a sudden you can't see your float. Whip it back, change the tip, and you're back in business. Another great thing about this float is that the different sizes of float have got slightly different size tips as well. So you end up with an array of little bits of plastic in your box that you can change. So if you were fishing and it got difficult to see, you could put a longer black one in, say, that would just have a little bit more, and you wouldn't have to take a shot off. It gives you some kind of flexibility. It's got a side eye on the body of the float, and I love a side eye. I can't stand those spring eyes. I only use them if I have to on big carp floats. I like a side eye, and I like it on the body as well, so it doesn't, sometimes you get the side eye at the top next to the bristle, and when you lay your rig in it can kind of hold up on the eye. So I love a side eye. It's a tiny little eye, there'll be photos coming up here, and it's a really hard, and I think they describe it as a painted hard body, and it is, and the line hasn't cut in, and all the time I've been using it I haven't broken one of these floats yet. And you might say, well, you're not going to fishing for silvers, and that's probably true, but I've also used this in winter for F1 fishing with maggot down the track, where you need real sensitivity. The bites can be tiny, this will show them up, and one or two of them have dragged me through bits of reeds and debris, and the floats withstood that as well. The best baits for using with this float, I think, are maggots and castor and pinkies, obviously. I also found it great for hemp, and I'm happy using it with an expander. It isn't really a float where you'd want to fish a hard pellet, because that would anchor it, and if there's a bit of breeze I could actually see the pellet holding it in position and it starts to drag under and it wouldn't perform. So I wouldn't use it for hard pellet. I'd use something with a thicker tip, normally a 1.5, occasionally a 1.2. But for those lighter baits, it is fantastic, and it's an all year round float. I will use this all year on silverfish as well. Little resistance, great bites as it shoots under. Any problems? Well, I wish they did a 0.1 gram, because sometimes it's really tough. It might be shallow and you just want something with 4 or 5 number 11 floats just to flutter down and catch the fish's eye. And the 0.2, like I said, you can shove some shot under the float and do that, but I do still carry the Chiantis in 4x10 just to have that super light fall. But I'd love Drennan to do a 0.1, but I can't see it. They're not going to watch this and all of a sudden think, yeah, there's a big market there. But that's my view. I recommend this float, all year round use, brilliant for silvers, brilliant for sensitivity. The interchangeable top kits, tips really helps and makes it a great package. That's it for today. Quite a short video. I'm still working on others. Unfortunately, the wind and the rain has been horrendous, so I'm struggling to put together my video on my new pole, the 921, but it will be coming in due course. If you want to give me a like and a thumbs up, that would be great. If you want to subscribe and join all the other people, you'll get automatically notified of any future videos. And I've got over 40 videos now on my channel for you to have a look at. Until next time, tight lines.